1930. A small Norwegian ship pushes through the icy fog near the Svalbard archipelago. The sea seems calm, but the ice groans and cracks. A soft, eerie sound that makes you feel like the Arctic itself is alive, breathing. On deck, men in thick fur coats, their beards frozen solid, eyes squinting at the dazzling white light, scan the barren horizon. They are not searching for anything in particular, yet what they are about to uncover will shake the world. On the shore of a tiny, forgotten island called Kvitøya, something white catches their eyes. A fragment of canvas, half buried in snow, sticking out of the ice. As they approach, more details emerge. A broken mast, fragments of wood, ropes tangled in frost. And then, 3 bodies, frozen in time, lying as though asleep, untouched for decades. A few meters away, a small metal box, rusted but perfectly sealed, lies in the snow. It appears insignificant, yet inside, it contains one of the most extraordinary secrets of Arctic exploration. The men bring it aboard their ship, intrigued but unaware of the story it holds. Weeks later, in a laboratory in Stockholm, the box is carefully opened. Inside, glass photographic plates, darkened by time, are revealed. Technicians clean them gently, warming them, watching as the images slowly emerge. 3 men, a balloon, an endless field of ice. Their faces, calm and dignified, look almost serene. These images tell a story of ambition, ingenuity, and fatal determination. The story of a dream that reached far beyond the limits of human endurance, a story that had been lost for over 30 years. Welcome to my manor. Sit closer. There's something mesmerizing about a good story told by the fire. So take a sip, make yourself comfortable, and listen. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't fiction. It's the forgotten dream of a man who tried to conquer the Arctic sky. I'm Bastian, and this is the story of Salomon August André, the man who tried to reach the North Pole by balloon. It all begins in Stockholm, 1895, in a city alive with invention and energy. Electric lights illuminate the streets, telephones bring news across continents, and science seems poised to conquer the impossible. In this world of optimism, a Swedish engineer named Salomon August André dares to dream the unimaginable, reaching the North Pole from the air, floating above the ice in a balloon. André is not reckless. He is meticulous, thoughtful, a physicist fascinated by flight. He has studied hot air balloons for years, experimenting with the lighter-than-air gas, hydrogen. The balloon is a marvel of engineering, a silk envelope coated with varnish and gum to resist moisture, capable of lifting a wooden gondola carrying explorers, instruments, and provisions across the Arctic sky. But there is a problem. Balloons cannot be steered. They drift with the wind, subject to its whims. André's solution: guide ropes. Long lengths of hemp hanging beneath the gondola, intended to drag across the ice and provide slight directional control. The concept is elegant, theoretical, and entirely untested. Yet André is convinced it will work. When he presents his idea to the Royal Academy of Sciences, the room is divided. Some see brilliance, others madness. Yet the plan catches the attention of King Oscar II, who envisions the glory of a Swedish expedition to the pole. Funding is granted, newspapers cheer, and the country watches with bated breath. André begins assembling his team. Nils Strindberg, a 24-year-old physicist and gifted photographer. meticulous and poetic, who carries a portrait of his fiancée Anna in his pocket. And Knut Frankel, an engineer and athlete, practical, calm, the counterbalance to Andrei's idealism. Three men, united by courage, curiosity, and the belief that human ingenuity could bend the Arctic to their will. The balloon, Urnen, the Eagle, is built in Paris by Henri Lechambre, one of the era's greatest aeronauts. It spans 20 meters in diameter and will contain nearly 5,000 cubic meters of hydrogen. Below, the gondola is meticulously crafted. 2 bunks, a stove for cooking and warmth, scientific instruments for navigation and meteorology, a camera, and supplies for 3 months. In a gesture both visionary and desperate, a telegraph system using carrier pigeons is installed, intended to send messages home if the men survive. Preparation is monumental. Tons of iron and sulfuric acid must be transported to the Arctic to generate hydrogen on site. The gas is volatile, the work exhausting. Yet the balloon finally rises, majestic and golden, like a living creature stretching its wings. On July 11, 1897, the crowd watches as the Eagle ascends. The wind is favorable. The dream begins. But soon, reality intervenes. The guide ropes, Andrei's pride, begin dragging in the sea, absorbing salt water, growing heavier by the minute. The balloon sags. In a panic, ballast is thrown. Bags of sand, equipment, even some food. The Eagle rises again, but its stability is compromised. Andrei's daring experiment becomes a struggle for survival. Within hours of taking flight, the dream turns fragile. The guide ropes, designed to steer the balloon, prove treacherous. They drag on the icy surface below, soaking up water, growing heavier by the minute. Hundreds of kilos now weighing down the delicate envelope. The Eagle tilts dangerously. Bags of sand, tools, and provisions are tossed overboard in desperate attempts to regain altitude. The men cling to hope, knowing that one wrong movement could mean instant death. 2 days into the journey, the Arctic sky grows gray and opaque. Fog thickens. The temperature plunges. Every instrument freezes. Compasses ice over. Hydrogen, the fragile gas keeping them aloft, begins to leak. The ropes that were supposed to guide them now become chains, pulling them closer to the merciless ice below. On July 14, 1897, barely 65 hours after takeoff, the balloon crashes violently onto the frozen Arctic. Wood splinters, silk tears, instruments smash. For a terrifying moment, the 3 men are suspended between life and death. And yet, miraculously, all survive. Bruised, frozen, exhausted, they step onto the ice, into a world without tracks, without landmarks, a white expanse stretching endlessly in every direction. They quickly realize that survival now depends not on ambition, but on endurance, ingenuity, and patience. They salvage what they can. A few provisions, rifles, instruments, Strindberg's camera, and journals. They fashion sleds to carry the heavy supplies, preparing to march south toward the unknown. The Arctic is relentless. Ice shifts beneath their feet. Cracks appear without warning, and the wind cuts like knives. Every step is a gamble. The men take turns leading the sleds, coordinating their movement with a precision born of discipline and desperation. Strindberg documents their journey, capturing haunting images of exhaustion, courage, and the silent beauty of a frozen world. They encounter bears, shadows moving in the distance, the constant threat of predators drawn to human scent. Hunger gnaws at them relentlessly. Their fingers are frostbitten, and the sun never fully rises. Polar twilight stretches for weeks. After 3 months of relentless struggle, they reach Kvitoya, the White Island, a barren rock at the edge of the map. Exhausted and weak, they build a small stone shelter, light a final fire, and record their last thoughts. They write in their journals, noting observations about the ice, the wind, the wildlife, and their own deteriorating health. Strindberg's final diary entry reads simply, "We have decided to remain here." Then silence. The Arctic reclaims its secrets. The men perish, but their story remains. Frozen, waiting. 33 years later, the ice yields its secret. In 1930, Norwegian explorers discover the remains of the camp, perfectly preserved. Journals, instruments, photographs, everything untouched by time. The glass plates reveal faces of the 3 men. Calm, almost peaceful. The photographs are extraordinary. Strindberg's meticulous framing and exposure, even under brutal Arctic conditions, result in images that are almost surreal. Men on the ice, the balloon's remains, the endless white horizon, and the silent power of a world that cannot be conquered. André's expedition never reached the North Pole. It failed in its explicit goal. But in its failure lies its profound legacy. It speaks of audacity, of faith in science and human ingenuity, and of the delicate balance between ambition and the overwhelming power of nature. The story reminds us that even when dreams are crushed, the courage to pursue them can inspire generations. Some lessons emerge clearly. Meticulous preparation is vital. Respect for the natural world is non-negotiable. And sometimes, the most extraordinary discoveries are not about reaching a destination, but about understanding human limits and resilience. André's story endures, a poetic testament to the edge of human hope. Though frozen in time, his ambition and the courage of his companions remain immortal, whispering to us from the ice. A reminder that some dreams do not need to succeed to achieve greatness. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, share it. Remember, the Arctic is patient and it keeps its secrets. But the courage of those who dared to enter it teaches us that even in failure, we can touch eternity.